The cry in the alley. The station smelled like oil, rust, and broken dreams. Port Vega was not a place where people looked up unless something was falling. Humans, aliens, machines, all walked fast, eyes down, minds busy. No one cared who cried, no one listened. But Jace Rowan did. He was just an out-of-work engineer with grease on his shirt and a heavy backpack. He had nothing to lose and nowhere to go. His last job had ended 3 weeks ago, and the little money he had left was turning into cold meals and sleepless nights. He walked the lower-level alleyways looking for a spare part, maybe a quiet place to rest. Then he heard it. "Help! Someone help my mom!" The voice was high, scared, and not human. Jace turned his head. A small alien boy, maybe 6 or 7 years old, ran between crates and garbage piles. His eyes were wide with fear, skin pale and marked with dirt and bruises. Most people turned away. A few glanced, then kept walking. But Jace stepped forward. The boy crashed into him and held on tight. "Please," the boy whispered, shaking. "They took her. She's locked. They're going to sell her." Jace looked around. No one followed the boy. No one even looked at them. "What's your name?" Jace asked softly. "Tiri." "Okay, Tiri. Where is she?" Tiri pointed with a trembling finger. "This way. Please hurry." Jace hesitated for only a second. Then he followed. They ran through narrow paths between metal walls and flickering neon lights. The lower levels of Port Vega were like a maze, half abandoned, half alive with shadows. The deeper they went, the darker it became. Tiri led him to a rusted door with strange alien markings burned into the surface. It was locked, sealed tight. There was a faint hum from the other side. Jace leaned in and heard soft, muffled voices, and something else, a scream. "She's in there," Tiri cried, pointing again. "They're going to take her away." Jace tried the control panel. It blinked red. Locked. He pulled out a small tool from his bag and started working on the wires. "Who took her?" Jace asked while prying a panel open. "Men in masks. They said she's biotech." "She's not. She's my mom." Jace's jaw tightened. Trafficking. It wasn't just happening in space stories, it was real. And right in front of him. A spark flew. The door made a loud click, then slowly opened. Inside, the room was cold and metallic. 3 figures stood, in the center beside a strange cage with glowing bars. Inside the cage, a tall alien woman, bruised and silent, her wrists bound. Her eyes locked onto Tiri, then Jace. "That's her," Tiri whispered. "Mom!" The guards turned. One of them laughed. "Get the kid," he ordered. Jace didn't wait. He charged the first man, slamming a metal wrench into his side. The guard fell, groaning. The second guard pulled out a stun rod and came at him. Jace ducked, rolled, and swung again. It wasn't clean, but it was hard enough to drop the man. Tiri picked up a broken pipe and hit the last guard in the leg. Jace finished, him with a sharp kick to the chest. They were still breathing, but out cold. Jace rushed to the cage. "How do I open this panel?" The woman whispered, weak. "Behind you." Jace found it and ripped the wires apart. The bars vanished with a hum. Tiri ran in and hugged his mom tight. The woman looked at Jace. "Who are you?" "Just someone who didn't walk away," Jace said. She blinked slowly, tears filling her eyes. "Thank you." But loud footsteps echoed in the hallway. Backup was coming. "We have to move," Jace said. He grabbed a stun rod and handed the pipe back to Tiri. "Stay close. No more running alone." They slipped out the back exit. As more guards rushed into the cage room, Jace led them into an old cargo shaft, then sealed the hatch behind them. Breathing hard, Tiri looked at Jace. "Why did you help us?" he asked. Jace stared into the darkness ahead. Because no one else did. And in that silence, something changed. Not just in Jace, but in all 3 of them. Behind the door. They moved fast. Jace held the stun rod tight in one hand, his other guiding Tiri and Riala through the shadowed cargo shaft. Behind them, the sound of boots echoed closer and closer. More guards. More danger. The station was a maze of metal and secrets. Jace had worked maintenance here years ago. He still remembered some of the old service routes, the forgotten tunnels no one dared to use anymore. "This way," he whispered. They climbed through a vent and dropped into a dark storage room. Dust hung in the air. Broken crates and silent cleaning bots filled the space. Jace sealed the vent shut with a steel bar. "We should be safe here," he said, breathing hard. Riella sat down slowly, holding Tiri close. Her arm was bruised, her eyes tired, but she was alive. "Thank you," she said softly. Again. Jace sat across from them, watching the door. "Who were they?" "Slavers," she said. "They work under fake companies. They capture aliens, with special genes, ones with rare traits." "Like you?" Rialla nodded. "My kind can control energy, not like magic, more like guiding it. My blood carries signals. They call it biotech, but to me it's just me." Tiri looked up. "They said they'd break her, sell her." Jace's stomach turned. He had heard rumors. Some aliens were hunted not for weapons or land, but for what was inside them. "How? Did they catch you?" he asked. "I was trying to get off the station. They offered transport. It was a trap." Tiri leaned his head on his mother's shoulder. "They locked her in a crate. I escaped. That explained the bruises and the fear." Jace felt his grip tighten around the rod. "They won't stop," Rialla said. "They'll keep looking for us." "Then we don't give them the chance," Jace said. "We disappear." But disappearing on Port Vega wasn't easy. Especially when you were carrying someone they considered living tech. Suddenly, a low beep came from Jace's pocket. His comm link. He pulled it out. An old message flashed on screen. "Rowan, you still breathing? I heard rumors. Meet me at Bay 9. Come alone." It was from Lena. Jace frowned. Lena was a security officer now. Strict, tough, but once a friend. She wouldn't risk sending this unless she knew something. Rialla saw his face. "Can we trust her?" Jace didn't know, but they had no real options. "We move at night," he said. "I know a way through the lower cooling ducts, no cameras, no patrols, but it's narrow and cold." "We can handle it," Rialla said, and she touched his hand gently. "You already did more than anyone." That night, they moved. The ducts were tight. Rialla crawled with difficulty. Jace helped her, and Tiri went ahead, small enough to slip. Through fast, halfway through Jace stopped. Something was wrong. A red glow pulsed behind them. A drone. "Move!" he shouted. They scrambled faster. The drone fired a tracker. It hit Jace's leg. Small, sharp, and burning. He grunted and yanked it out, throwing it behind. The drone followed, but slowed. Jace led them through a back panel that opened into an abandoned shop. They slammed the door shut and locked it. Jace dropped, breathing hard, leg bleeding slightly. Rialla tore a piece of cloth and wrapped it quickly. Her fingers were warm, firm. "We need to move," she said. "They'll trace that drone." "Bay 9, Jace muttered. Almost there. They limped through back alleys until they reached the edge of Bay 9. It was quiet. Too quiet. Lena was already waiting, standing by a broken cargo truck. She wore civilian clothes, but the way she stood, the way her hand hovered near her side, it told Jace she hadn't lost her edge. She saw the boy first, then Rialla, then Jace's bleeding leg. "You really did it," she said, walking over. "You really went in there and dragged them out." "You knew?" I heard whispers. "And when I saw your name on a slaver alert, I knew something big happened." "You going to arrest me?" Jace asked. Lena shook her head. "No, I'm going to help you." Rialla stepped forward. "Why?" Lena looked at her, and for the first time, Jace saw surprise in her eyes. "You're one of the Veilkin. I thought your kind was lost." "They think we are," Rialla said. "They want it that way." Lena sighed. "Look, I can get you off station. One shuttle, no questions, but you'll need a new ID and fast." "What's the catch?" Jace asked. Lena stared at him. "The slavers aren't just a gang. They're part of a network. And this station, Port Vega, it's their hub." Jace felt cold. They're everywhere. Yes, Lena said. And now they'll come for all of you. Then let them come, Jace said, eyes hard. But we're not running yet. Riala touched his arm again. We can't fight them alone. We won't be alone, Jace said. We'll find a way. As they stepped into the shadows of Bay 9 ready to hide again, none of them saw the tiny drone camera watching from the ceiling, transmitting. Shadows of the station Port Vega looked peaceful from the outside. Ships moved slowly under blinking lights and soft music played in the commercial decks. But deep inside, under the markets, beneath the shiny ports, there were dark places that smelled like oil, dust, and secrets. That's where Jace, Riala, and Tiri were now. Hiding. They were in Sector 13, an abandoned cargo level shut down after a fire 10 years ago. No cameras worked here. No lights, just broken machines and forgotten crates. Jace had sealed the old service door behind them with melted steel and scrap. The room they stayed in had once stored food containers, now covered in cobwebs and rust. They had a few water packs, some protein cubes, and Jace's tools. Not much, but it was something. Tiri sat in the corner, watching a tiny projector show silent images of old alien stories. Riala was quiet, checking the room for any weak points. Her long fingers glowed faintly. When she touched the walls, energy moved inside her like a whisper. Jace sat down beside a busted generator, wiping sweat from his face. "How's your leg?" Riala asked. "Hurts," Jace said. "But I've had worse." She looked at him, eyes soft. "You shouldn't have to go through this. You could have walked away." "I told you," Jace said, "I don't walk away." She smiled slightly. "Humans are strange." He smiled back. "Yeah, we are." But that quiet moment didn't last long. The wall near, the floor buzzed. Tiri turned his head quickly. "What's that?" Jace pulled out a scanner. It blinked red. "Movement," he whispered. "Something's outside." They all froze. Then, clink, clink, clink. Small crawling sounds. Jace grabbed the stun rod. Riala moved to the side, her hand glowing. Tiri stood behind her holding a metal pipe like last time. Then it came through, a tiny drone, spider-shaped, sliding under the gap in the wall. "Tracker," Jace hissed. "Don't let it call home." Riala stepped forward and reached out. Her fingers sparked blue. The drone's lights blinked, then died. It dropped to the floor, smoke rising from its body. "You shorted it," Jace said, impressed. "Only if it hasn't already sent data," she replied. He nodded. "Then we move. Now." They packed fast and left through a forgotten vent above the storage room. It led to the lower air tunnels, barely wide enough for a grown man. Jace led the way. Riala followed, holding Tiri's hand tightly. As they crawled through the tight space, Riala spoke in a low voice. "They want my kind because of what we carry. Our bodies can store knowledge, history, even memories. You're like living data crystals," Jace said. "Yes, my people were memory keepers. We didn't fight wars. We kept records. And now they want to sell you like tech." Riala nodded. "They erased our name, turned us into code." Jace felt his anger rise again. "You're not code. You're a person." They reached a hatch. Jace opened it slowly. Beyond was a dim hallway lined with broken lights and empty lockers. They dropped down and moved fast. But they weren't alone. On the other end of the hallway, a voice shouted, "Stop them!" Armed figures ran out. Slavers, not station police. Jace slammed the door shut and jammed a bar through the handles. "Run!" They rushed through corridors, dodging debris and stepping over fallen panels. The station shook suddenly. An explosion? No. Footsteps, heavy ones. And then, an old maintenance bot rolled out of the dark. It was huge, rusted, with one glowing eye and a plasma torch for a hand. "Clear the area," it said in a low voice. "Unauthorized presence detected." Jace grinned. "I used to fix this thing." "Can you shut it down?" Tiri asked. "Nope," Jace said. but maybe I can trick it. He ran forward and slammed a cable into the bot's panel. It sparked. The bot froze. Redirecting, it said. Then it turned around and rolled toward the slavers. Intruders detected, it growled. The screams came seconds later. Jace grabbed Tyree's hand. We go. Now. They reached a quiet spot. A hidden server bay Jace remembered from his work days. No one used it now. The system inside was outdated, slow, but it still worked. Jace tapped into it. A screen lit up, showing a map of the station. We need a way off this place, he said, and we need to erase Riala from their systems. Can you do that? Riala asked. I can try, Jace said, but I'll need help. He sent a coded message. One word. Help. Lena replied almost instantly. Where? He gave the location. Minutes later, Lena entered, wearing a hood and carrying a device that looked like a silver lunchbox. You got their attention, she said. They've locked the docks. Figured, Jace said. We need a new plan. I've got a shuttle, Lena said. But we need to get Riala's ID off the slaver database or every gate will flag her. She handed Jace the device. Plug this into their server core. Once inside, it will upload fake death logs. That won't be easy, Jace said. Nothing worth doing ever is. Riala stepped forward. You risk a lot for us. Lena looked at her. They don't get to erase anyone. Not again. As they prepared to move again, Tyree walked over to Jace. You're not like the others, he said. What do you mean? Jace asked. Most people saw me cry for help and walked away. Jace looked at him. But you stopped. Maybe it's because someone once stopped for me, Jace whispered, and I never forgot. The boy nodded. Then I won't forget either. And for the first time, Jace felt like maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. The Forbidden Clinic. The old medical wing was forgotten by most of Port Vega. Long ago, it had been a place for free care, before the station turned cold and private. Now it was silent, locked away and crawling with decay. The lights flickered. Wires hung from the ceiling like dying vines. Dust floated through the stale air like ghost breath. This was where Jace led Riala and Tiri next. Not by choice, but by desperation. Tiri was burning with fever. He's overheating, Riala said, holding her son close. His skin is turning gray. His kind isn't made for human air for this long, Jace muttered, opening a rusted door. We need that old medbot online. The room they entered was full of broken equipment, smashed scanners, and old bloodstains. But in the corner, half buried, under wires and rubble, was a large silver dome. A long-armed machine rested inside, its eye dark. Medical Unit Delta 3, Jace read aloud. Let's hope you still know how to save lives. He pulled out his toolkit and got to work. Sparks flew. The screen blinked once, twice, then lit up. Unit active. Status: offline for 3,216 days. Please insert patient. Lie him down, Jace said. Riala placed Tyree gently on the rusted bed. His eyes were half closed now, lips dry. Scanning, the bot said. A soft blue light passed over the boy. Then red alerts flashed. Foreign virus detected, spreading fast. Requires antigen fusion or neural collapse will begin in 12 minutes. Do you have that antigen? Riala asked. Not in database, the bot replied. Requires biological, donor of matching signature. Riala stepped forward. Scan me, she said. Mother, Jace warned. If it's dangerous, he's my son. The medbot scanned her. Match found. Initiating fusion protocol. Riala lay beside Tiri, her arm touching his. The bot released thin silver wires, wrapping around them both. Glowing serum flowed between them. But then, the bot's light flickered. Power, unstable. Battery at 5%. No, 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 Jace whispered. He ran to the back panel. One wire was loose. Another had melted. He grabbed his cutter and reconnected them with his bare hands. A jolt of electricity shocked his fingers, but he kept holding. Stabilizing, the bot said. Riala's body shook. Her skin glowed like moonlight, then dimmed. Tiri let out a small cough. Then another. He opened his eyes. "Mom?" he whispered. She smiled weakly. "I'm here." But her glow had faded completely. She passed out. "Is she?" Jace asked. "Stable," the bot said, "but weakened. Full recovery will take time." Jace lowered his head in relief, but then he heard slow clapping. From the shadows near the door, a man stepped forward. Tall, in a clean officer's coat. Sharp eyes. Pale skin. "Commander Vel?" Jace said coldly. "Hello, Mr. Rowan." Vel said, "I wondered who would be foolish enough to revive that med unit." Jace stood in front of Riala and Tiri. "They're under my protection." Vel laughed. "They are property, both of them. Do you have any idea what the mother is worth? Her body can trigger old technology, wake systems that haven't worked in centuries." "She's not property," Jace growled. "She's a person. So noble," Vel said, "and so useless. Step aside." "Not a chance." Vel pulled out a small remote. The wall beside him opened, and two black-clad guards stepped in with stun rifles. Jace backed up, grabbing a metal pole. "You'll have to kill me first." Vel smiled. "Easy." He nodded. At the guards. But before they could shoot, a blast of sound shook the room. The wall behind them exploded inward, spraying sparks and dust. A figure stood in the smoke. "Lena." "Get away from them," she shouted, holding a flash launcher. Vel stepped back, growling. "You're making a mistake." "I've made many," Lena said, aiming. "Not this time." She fired. Light exploded. The guards dropped, blinded. Vel vanished into the smoke. "We have to move," Lena shouted. Jace lifted Riala while Lena helped Tiri walk. They escaped through the broken wall down into a drainage pipe. When they reached a quiet side chamber, Jace laid Riala down carefully. "You came," he said to Lena. "I told you. Don't run anymore." Tiri crawled to his mom and held her hand. "She saved me," he whispered. Jace turned to Lena. "Vel knows now, he won't stop." "Then we stop him first," she said. "I've been tracking data from the slaver network. They don't just work in the dark. They're protected from above." "How high?" Jace asked. "Station command." "Level," she replied. Jace shook his head. "We're not just fighting slavers, we're fighting the whole system." "Then let's tear it down," Lena said. He looked at her, then at Riala and Tiri. "What do we need?" She handed him a data stick. "This. It has their trafficking map. Routes, names, faces, but we need to plug it into the control tower to expose them. We won't survive that." "Maybe not," Lena said. "But if we do, we save more than just one family. We save thousands." Jace looked at Riala. She opened her eyes weakly. "Whatever. You choose," she whispered. "We choose with you." Jace gripped the stick. "Then we take the tower. Deal with the devil." The room was quiet now. Too quiet. Jace stood at the edge of the pipe tunnel, staring at the blinking light on the data stick Lena had handed him. That small silver device carried the weight of hundreds, maybe thousands, of stolen lives. And if they reached the tower with it, the whole station could see the truth. If they failed, they'd vanish like the others. Lena paced behind him, checking the charge on her blaster. "Tower security shifts change in 6 hours. We go then. That gives us time to plan. One shot, no second chances." Riala lay resting on a padded blanket made from scrap cloth. Her skin still looked pale, but her breathing was steady. Tiri sat beside her, holding her hand tight. "We don't have 6 hours," Jace said suddenly. Lena turned. "What are you talking about?" He held up a small chip, half melted. "Vel left this behind in the med room. It was transmitting. I cracked part of it. He's not just chasing us, he's setting a trap. Within 2 hours, Port Vega's main security force will sweep the lower decks." "You're sure?" Lena asked. "Completely," Jace said. "They're going to seal everything and flush us out like rats." "Then we go now." Riala sat up slowly. "Not we. You go. I stay." "No," Jace said. We do this together. You can't protect me and fight, she said softly. I'm slowing you down. You're not, Thierry said. You're my mom. And I want to see you safe, she whispered. Please, Jace, take him. End this. Jace looked into her eyes and saw something that broke his heart. Trust. We'll come back, he promised. She smiled. I know. He hugged her once. Then stood. Lena, you still have contacts in command? She nodded. 2. But they won't move unless they see proof. Then we give them proof. 20 minutes later, Jace and Lena were dressed as cargo techs, carrying a fake scanner case with the real data stick inside. Thierry wore a utility jacket and carried a backpack stuffed with wires to look like a field assistant. The main elevator to Tower Command was in the center of Deck 5. Heavily guarded. Always watched. They walked casually through the station mall. Neon. Lights glowing, music playing, people laughing. Jace couldn't believe the calm. Above them, corruption boiled like poison in the pipes. Lena leaned close. When we reach the lift, I fake a call. Say we're delivering a diagnostic tool for power core access that gives us 30 seconds before they scan us. And then we improvise. Jace nodded. Your favorite thing. As they reached the checkpoint, 2 armed guards stepped forward. Their eyes scanned the group. Clearance? One asked. We've got a diagnostic request from Sector Control, Lena said, showing a fake ID. Level 6 requested full tower relay scans. The guard looked at the ID, then at the case. Open it. Jace hesitated. Sir, this is sensitive gear, Lena said fast. Sealed for calibration. Open it. Jace opened the case. Inside were glowing coils, fake cables, blinking lights. The guard leaned in. Thierry slowly reached into his bag, then pressed a small trigger. A flashbang exploded. Light. Sound. Chaos. Jace slammed one guard to the floor. Lena grabbed the second, jabbing a shock stick into his neck. They dragged the guards into a storage closet, then rushed into the elevator. Go, 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 Lena shouted. Jace jammed the override chip into the panel. The door shut. The lift shot upward. That'll bring more guards, Jace said. We only need 1 minute at the top. The doors opened to tower control. Glass walls, glowing consoles, high ceilings. Officers turned. Surprise on every face. Hands. Up. One barked. Lena threw down a flash grenade. Boom. Jace dashed to the command deck and slammed the data stick into the mainframe. Uploading broadcast, he muttered. Come on, come on. Screens around the room flashed. Images of slave cells, cages, auctions, medical reports, alien DNA scans, even Commander Vel shaking hands with black market traders. Station-wide alert. Illegal trafficking operation exposed. Evidence confirmed. The truth went live, through every screen on Port Vega. But it wasn't over. Vel appeared on the tower's main screen. Well played, he said calmly. But not enough. Suddenly, the building shook. A missile hit the base of the tower. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed. He's trying to destroy the evidence, Lena shouted. Grab the stick, Jace yelled. As he pulled it out, the floor cracked beneath them. Metal groaned. Fire burst from the wall. Lena grabbed Thierry. We go now. They ran into the emergency chute, sliding down 4 floors in seconds, landing hard in a storage bay. Guards stormed in. Lena fired. Jace swung a steel pipe. Chaos. Then, gunfire stopped. More boots came. Not slavers. Station peacekeepers. Drop your weapons, they ordered. Jace raised his hands. But then, an older woman in a gray coat stepped forward. I saw the feed, she said. I'm Director Kale, and it's over, Commander Vel. Vel was dragged in, wrists bound, his face twisted in rage. You think this changes anything? You're finished, Kale said. Later, in a quiet room, Jace sat with Riala and Thierry again. Safe for now. Director Kale had promised full protection for them, and to use the evidence to shut down every slaver port connected to Port Vega. "You did it," Riala said, holding his hand. "We did it," Jace replied. "What happens now?" Tiri asked. Jace looked out the window. The stars were quiet tonight. Now we make sure this never happens again. And for the first time in years, Jace Rowan believed something he hadn't in a long time. Hope. The great distraction. The truth had exploded across Port Vega like wildfire. But the fire wasn't done burning. Commander Vel was in chains. Dozens of slaver contacts were exposed. Families reunited. Hidden tunnels found. The peacekeepers moved fast, but not fast enough. The slavers had been everywhere for years, and now they were angry and quiet. Jace knew that silence was the most dangerous. "Part they're regrouping," Lena said, walking beside him in the command hallway. "They lost Port Vega, but they're not gone." Jace nodded. "We showed the galaxy what they are. Now we have to make sure they don't rebuild." They were meeting Director Kale, station leader, now fully awake to the corruption under her rule. She had called Jace and Lena to her war room. The space was lined with floating screens, defense maps, and blinking reports. Kale stood in front of a large hologram showing routes to every major port within 6 systems. "You started something big," Kale said. "And now everyone's watching. The slavers' network is fracturing, but if we don't act fast, they'll shift operations to other stations. More silent cages. More missing lives." "What do you need us to do?" Jace asked. Kale pointed to a blinking dot on the far edge of the map. "There's a relay station called Markov 7, she said. "Small, remote, unguarded. We believe they've moved their remaining data there. Identity lists, black market transactions, secret shipments. It's their backup core." Lena narrowed her eyes. "You want us to steal that data?" "No," Kyle said. "I want you to destroy it. And the station." "You're asking us to start a war," Jace said. "You already did," Kale replied. 3 hours later, they were in a hangar. Jace worked on a stolen stealth shuttle, half covered in black tape, solar reflectors, and low-pulse thrusters. Lena loaded the cargo bay with explosives. Tiri sat on a crate holding a tablet, watching schematics scroll by. Riala stood by the door. She had recovered, but something had changed in her. Her voice was quieter, her hands slower, her gaze deeper, like someone who had seen too many things in a short time. "You shouldn't go alone," she told Jace. "I'm not," he said. "Lena's coming." "You know what I mean." He looked at her. "You and Tiri are finally safe. Don't give that up." "You gave it to us," she said. "So now I want to give something back." He smiled, then touched her shoulder. "Then stay with Kale. Help her rebuild what we almost lost." They launched at midnight. The stars were cold and endless. Markov 7 floated near a dying red sun, quiet and gray like a forgotten tomb. The station had 1 dock, 4 levels, and no signs of life. "This is too easy," Lena said as they landed. "They're hiding something," Jace replied. They entered through an access hatch. Inside, the place smelled of dust and cold metal. Lights flickered. The halls were silent, but not empty. As they reached the server room, a voice echoed from the shadows. "You..." Again, Veldalive. His face had bruises, his arm wrapped in a metal brace. His smile was bitter and thin. "You didn't think I'd stay in chains forever," he said. Jace raised his stun gun. "You're finished." "No," Vel replied. "You are." From the vents, from the walls, from hidden doors, figures stepped out, mercenaries, not slavers. Worse, cold-blooded killers with no loyalty but credits. "You destroyed my network," Vel said, "but I had one piece left. This station holds the names of everyone who paid me. Politicians, generals, station chiefs. If I release it, everything falls." "Then why haven't you?" Lena asked. "Because I need leverage, and you're it." Pointed to Jace. "You're going to send a message to Kale. Tell her to restore my record, clean my name, and clear a ship for me. Or I release everything. Chaos will follow." Jace narrowed his eyes. "You're bluffing," Am I? Val held up a remote. Make the call, or every system in this sector burns. Jace looked at Lena. Then he smiled. Okay, he said. You win. Val blinked. But first, look out the window. The mercenaries turned, just in time to see Jace's stealth shuttle rise into view, unmanned, and slam directly into the far wing of the station. The explosion rocked the structure. Lena ducked. Jace pulled her behind a crate as fire burst through the ceiling. You brought the data here, didn't you? Vel screamed. No, Jace said calmly. We didn't come to steal anything. We came to burn it all. He pressed a small detonator. Charges, placed all around the server core, lit up. Boom, boom, boom. The lights shut off. The floor tilted. Alarms wailed. The mercenaries scattered. Vel screamed as part of the ceiling collapsed beside him. Jace and Lena ran. They reached the hangar and leapt into an escape pod. The station was falling apart behind them, one last dark heart breaking open. As they launched away, they looked back at the fire. Think he survived? Lena asked. I don't care, Jace said. His power didn't. They landed back, on Port Vega, to a silent welcome. Kale met them with Ryala and Tiri at her side. It's done, Jace said. We saw, Kale replied. Ryala hugged him tightly. You ended it, she whispered. No, Jace said. We ended the fear. Now we build something better. Kale stepped forward. I want you on my team, Jace. Help me hunt the rest. We can use your mind, your heart. And your stubbornness, Lena added. Jace looked at Ryala, at Tiri, then nodded. I'm in. And somewhere in the dark sky above them, the stars burned a little brighter. Safe isn't home. The stars above Port Vega looked different now. Not brighter, not softer, just clearer, as if the smoke of lies had finally faded. From the sky, the slaver network was broken. Commander Vel, presumed dead in the collapse of Markov 7, was never found. What remained of his dark empire scattered into silence, too weak and afraid to surface again. But Jace Rowan knew this wasn't peace. Not yet, because even though the danger had passed, the scars remained. In a small cabin near the edge of the Yo, Port's rebuilt living quarter, Jace sat quietly at a table made of scrap metal and glass. Across from him, Tiri carefully painted lines on a small wooden toy ship. His tongue poked out from the corner of his mouth as he focused. What do you think? Tiri asked, holding it up. Jace smiled. Looks fast? It is, Tiri said, proudly. I made it for Mom. Jace's smile softened. She's at the council meeting, he said, but she'll love it. Ryala now sat among Port Vega's new ruling council, not as a politician, but as a voice. The first non-human to hold power there, and she carried it with calm strength. She had earned it. They all had. Later that night, Jace stood on the rooftop of their building, watching the stars. Lena joined him, her coat pulled tight against the cold wind. We're getting messages from other ports, she said. People asking how we did it. They want help building councils like ours, protections, patrols. Good, Jace said. You could lead that mission, you know, she added. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stared out across the dark sky. Do you ever feel like we're standing between two worlds? He asked. What do you mean? Before this, I thought I was just an engineer. Fix things, move parts, stay quiet. Then this happened, and now... You're a protector, Lena said. And yeah, it changes you. Do you regret it? He asked. No, she said. I only regret not acting sooner. The next day, Jace visited a small shelter near the old cargo bay. Inside, alien children played with broken robots, turning trash into toys. Volunteers, human and alien, worked together to build new homes, share food, teach languages. This had been Ryala's idea. No one should be treated like a secret, she had said, especially not children. One little girl, with soft green skin and wide, silver eyes, tugged on Jace's hand. Are you the man who broke the chains? She asked. Jace knelt beside her. I helped. My mom says you're a hero. Your mom is the hero, he said. She got you here. The girl smiled and ran off, and Jace stood there, feeling something warm grow in his chest. Not pride, not victory, something gentler. Home. That night, Riala returned from the council chambers, her eyes tired but full of hope. They agreed, she said, sitting down beside Jace. To what? We're going to open the port, she replied. Not just to trade, but to people. Real refugees, wanderers, survivors. Jace nodded. They'll come. We'll welcome them. Tiri crawled into her lap, sleepy. Mom, he mumbled. I had a dream we lived on a green planet. Was it peaceful? She asked. He nodded. Maybe one day, she said. Jace looked at them and knew what he had to do. The next morning, Jace met with Director Kale and Lena in the command tower. He placed a file on the desk. What's this? Kale asked. A new project, Jace said. I call it the Beacon Path. Lena opened the file. Diagrams, routes, defense points, communication lines. You're building a safe zone? She asked. More than that, Jace said. A network of protected corridors across stations, moons, small worlds, where no one trades lives for credits, where the hunted can rest, where the lost can be found. Kyle leaned back in her chair. That's a big idea. We have a big reason, Jace replied. Kale smiled. You'll need a team. I've already got one. Weeks passed. Ships launched. Messages spread. Ports responded. Some opened their doors. Others slammed them shut. But for every place that said no, there was another that said yes. The Beacon Path grew, and Jace led it. Not as a soldier, not as a savior, but as a builder. One evening, Riala stood with Jace at the edge of the landing field. He watched workers loading crates of supplies into a long-range vessel. On the side of the ship were 3 words painted in simple letters: no more chains. Riala looked at him. Are you ready? He nodded. This is the right path. I'll hold the port, she said. You light the stars. He kissed her forehead gently. You gave me a reason, he whispered. And you gave me freedom, she replied. Tiri ran up, holding his toy ship. When you come back, he said, we'll fly mine together. Promise, Jace said, hugging him tight. As the engines roared to life, Jace looked back one last time. Riala stood there, strong, proud, watching him with a fire in her eyes. And for the first time in his life, Jace Rowan didn't feel lost. He felt found. And as the ship rose into the sky, he knew safe wasn't enough. So he built something better. A home for everyone.